Could this be iPhone's biggest makeover ever? We've just uncovered Apple's secret iOS 19 plans, Vision Pro aesthetics coming to your pocket. Our exclusive leak reveals what no one else knows, ready for the truth? So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's explore this exclusive first look at iOS 19. Trust us, this is something you won't want to miss. The redesigned camera app. Let's start with what we've actually seen, the completely redesigned camera app coming in iOS 19. The first thing you'll notice is how much more fluid everything feels. The entire interface has been streamlined to focus on what matters most. The viewfinder takes up more screen space, with controls that appear more translucent and only when you need them. Settings have been completely reorganized in a way that makes much more sense. Instead of cluttering the screen with every possible option, the new design keeps things clean until you need specific features. The toggle for switching between photo and video modes is more prominent, and tapping it reveals additional options in a smooth, animated menu. For photos, you'll find familiar features like depth for portrait mode and spatial capture, all with more intuitive controls. The video section brings similar improvements, along with easier access to resolution and frame rate settings right at the top. No more digging through menus to switch from 4K to 1080p. The Vision Connection, a new design language. Now, let's talk about why this camera app redesign matters so much. It's not just about having a prettier way to take photos, it's a hint at a much broader design shift across iOS. The elements we're seeing strongly suggest that Apple is bringing the design language of visionOS to iOS 19, potentially leading to a system-wide refresh. For those who haven't closely followed the Vision Pro headset, visionOS features a distinctly different aesthetic. It uses more rounded elements, translucent panels that subtly reveal content beneath them, and interface components that feel more three-dimensional. The overall effect is lighter, airier, and more contextual than current iOS design. Seeing these same design elements now appearing in the iOS 19 camera app indicates Apple may be ready to harmonize its design across platforms. This makes perfect sense. Apple has always valued consistency in its ecosystem, and bringing elements of visionOS to iOS creates a more unified experience for users who might eventually move between iPhone and Vision devices. System-wide changes. So the big question is, how far will this redesign go? Based on what we're seeing and hearing from our sources, there are two possible scenarios for iOS 19's design refresh. The most dramatic possibility, and the one many Apple fans are hoping for, is a complete system-wide redesign affecting everything from the home screen to the control center. Imagine swiping away from the newly redesigned camera app to find a home screen with rounded visionOS-style icons. This would truly be the biggest visual overhaul since iOS 7 and would give iPhone users the fresh look many have been craving for years. In this scenario, we might see more dynamic, contextual interfaces throughout the system. Control Center could become more adaptive to your usage patterns, app icons might become more visually consistent, and even system animations could feel more fluid and natural. The more conservative possibility is that Apple starts by redesigning its core apps: camera, photos, music, notes, wallet, and so on, while leaving the fundamental iOS interface largely unchanged. The home screen and system elements would remain familiar, while the apps themselves would adopt the new visionOS-inspired aesthetic. Either way, iOS is entering a new design era, one that feels more spatial, contextual, and unified with Apple's broader ecosystem. And while we can't say with complete certainty how extensive these changes will be in the initial release, it's clear that change is coming. Apple Intelligence features. Beyond the visual refresh, iOS 19 is expected to bring significant enhancements to Apple Intelligence, the company's AI initiative that began with iOS 18. Based on industry reports and our sources, Apple is doubling down on AI integration throughout the system, making your iPhone smarter and more predictive. One of the most anticipated upgrades is a revamped Siri. Sources indicate Apple is training Siri on large language models similar to those powering ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. This would transform Siri from a basic voice assistant into a much more conversational AI capable of understanding complex requests, maintaining context throughout conversations, and performing more sophisticated tasks across apps. This upgraded Siri won't just answer questions better, it could fundamentally change how you interact with your iPhone. Imagine asking Siri to summarize key points from a meeting while pulling relevant information from your notes and calendar, all while maintaining the context of your project. Beyond Siri, we're hearing that iOS 19 will expand Apple Intelligence features throughout the system. The Photos app will likely gain more advanced search capabilities and editing suggestions. Messages might offer more contextual responses. And system-wide features like predictive text should become significantly more accurate and personalized. Release timeline. Now that we've covered what's coming in iOS 19, let's talk about when you can actually get your hands on it. Based on Apple's established pattern, we can provide a pretty reliable timeline for iOS 19's journey from announcement to public release. First up is the official unveiling, which will almost certainly happen at Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference in early June 2025. This is when Apple traditionally gives its first preview of the next iOS version. Based on what we've seen, the iOS 19 announcement could be one of the most significant in years if the design overhaul is as extensive as we suspect. Following the WWDC keynote, Apple will release the first developer beta. In recent years, these early betas have been available to anyone with an Apple ID, not just registered developers. However, be warned, these initial versions are typically very buggy and not recommended for your primary device. Throughout summer 2025, Apple will release a series of beta updates, gradually improving stability. A more stable public beta will probably launch in July, giving more users a chance to try the new features before official release. The final public version of iOS 19 will almost certainly coincide with the iPhone 17 launch in September 2025, likely a week or so before the new phones hit stores. However, some features, particularly advanced AI capabilities, may come in later updates like iOS 19.1, 19.2, and so on. Compatible devices. One question that's always on everyone's mind with a new iOS version. Will my iPhone be supported? While Apple hasn't officially confirmed the compatibility list for iOS 19, we can make some educated predictions based on past patterns and technical requirements. First, let's look at recent history. iOS 18 surprisingly maintained support for the iPhone XS, XS Max, and XR, extending Apple's software support to an impressive 7 years for these devices. However, iOS 19 might finally drop support for these models, especially if the new design and AI features require more processing power. Based on our analysis, we expect iOS 19 to be compatible with iPhone 11 and newer models. This includes the iPhone 11 series and all versions of the iPhone 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and the upcoming iPhone 17 series. The iPhone SE, second and third generation, should also make the cut, as they share internals with more recent flagship models. The potential cutoff at iPhone 11 makes technical sense. These devices feature the A13 Bionic chip or newer, providing the neural engine capabilities needed for many Apple Intelligence features. The more powerful GPU would also better support the new visual elements of the redesigned interface. For those still using an iPhone XS or older, this might be disappointing, but it reflects the reality of technological progress. More advanced features require more powerful hardware, and eventually, older devices simply can't keep up with the demands of new software. Performance and customization. While visual changes and new features grab headlines, what many users care about most is how their iPhone actually performs day to day. Based on our sources, iOS 19 should bring significant under-the-hood improvements that make your iPhone faster, more stable, and more energy efficient. Apple seems to have taken feedback about iOS 18's initial stability issues seriously. Our sources indicate the company has implemented a more rigorous testing process for iOS 19, with a particular focus on eliminating bugs before public release. This should translate to fewer crashes and glitches when you update. Performance optimizations are also a major focus, particularly for older supported devices. Apple has reportedly been working on more efficient background processes that consume less memory and processing power. Battery life improvements are another key area, with more sophisticated power management algorithms to help your iPhone last longer between charges. Looking ahead, iOS 19 appears to set the stage for the next several years of iPhone software. The visual refresh provides a new foundation. The AI capabilities create new interaction possibilities, and the performance improvements ensure everything runs smoothly. While we'll have to wait until Worldwide Developers Conference 2025 for Apple's official unveiling, what we've seen already has us excited about the direction. The iPhone experience is about to get fresher, smarter, and more personalized, and that's definitely something to look forward to. Thanks for joining us for this exclusive look at iOS 19. Make sure to subscribe for more updates as we learn more in the coming months.